Back at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, set for semifinal game number 2 tonight. And the Syracuse Orange and the Michigan Wolverines set to do battle. The Final Four is down to 3 as the top-seeded Louisville Cardinals had to come from 12 down to take care of the upstart Shockers of Wichita State, 72-68. So the Cardinals are in the title game, 9:23 Eastern Time on Monday right here in Atlanta. Who they'll meet, we'll find out momentarily. Syracuse, the number 4 seed in the East. At one point, they'd lost 4 of 5 games at the end of the regular season before the tournament started. Their fans all fired up now because here they are at 30-9, and they're led by their point guard, Michael Carter-Williams. Jay.
Michael Carter-Williams, a big point guard, outstanding in transition, averages over 7 assists. Excellent in the open court and excellent at the top of that zone. An outstanding passer, but also gets almost 3 steals per game, which he can help take the other way, and Syracuse can get points in transition.
Speaking of help, the guys that will help him, including Trish, C.J. Fair, and James Sutherland.
Well, C.J. Fair, perhaps the most consistent player. A lefty, can knock down threes, but can also post up. Jim Boeheim will use him if he's got a matchup advantage. He can go down into the post and exploit a matchup there.
Talked about a team that struggled a little bit near the end of the year. Michigan had lost 6 of 12 games before the tournament started, but now they're maize and blue faithful, fired up because they're a 30-win team. And as a 4 seed in the South, they're led by maybe the player of the year in everybody's opinion.
Well, I think he is, Brad, the player of the year. The Wooden Award winner, Trey Burke, just a sophomore, averaged close to 19 points per game and 7 assists per game. Another young man who is excellent in transition. He can pull up, go into his left or his right. He makes 3-point shots, and he can penetrate. He's going to be vital in penetrating the gaps of this Syracuse zone, trying to kick it out to open shots.
Heard around the world in college basketball. Here's the guys that'll help him: Hardaway, McGarry, and Stauskas.
Stauskas and Hardaway, outstanding shooters, but the key may be Mitch McGarry. No big guy has played better in the NCAA tournament than the left-handed freshman. Can he get openings in the middle of that zone and offensive rebounds for easy stickbacks?
That's the question everybody's been asking all week long. Can anybody play that 2-3 zone of Syracuse and either penetrate it or be able to outshoot it? We're about to find out in semifinal game number 2 from Atlanta. Syracuse and Michigan, the Orange and the Wolverines. To find out who plays Louisville, we'll find out when we come back. Back in Atlanta, beautiful night in the capital city of Georgia, outside the Georgia Dome. It is packed to the rafters tonight with the biggest crowd ever to see a basketball game in this state. In fact, the crowd tonight bigger than when the Atlanta Falcons play in here in the National Football League season. This is a dome that will be no longer. About 5 years from now, there's going to be a new facility, and it'll replace this one. But tonight, it's the center of the college basketball world without a doubt as we get set for Syracuse and Michigan. And Jay, you sort of talked about the 2-3 zone of Syracuse. Everybody's been talking about that, and of course, they've done an unbelievable job. They've only allowed 61 field goals in 4 games. It's been unbelievable.
It has been unbelievable. The 61 field goals. They've also had 67 turnovers that they've forced out of this zone. It is long. It is athletic. If you get in the middle of it, it's difficult to make a play, and it's also difficult to get an open shot because they close out the shooter so effectively, Brad.
Let's take a look at a feature on that particular zone defense of Syracuse.
You think you got us beat, you took the ball. You think you got an easy layup, you get fouled or you get pinned against the glass.
We try to play good defense no matter what happens, and the good teams do that.
The past couple of games, teams really had a hard time shooting against us.
Chance of you making a shot while we playing good defense is hard.
We contest, 100% of the shots. The team's not used to that, especially every play. It's exhaustion mentally and physically.
We take a lot of pride in our defense and also communicating with each other.
When defenses are great and really great, you feel like there's 6 defenders out there, and that's what we try to make other people feel like.
It's driven everybody crazy so far. 3 teams out of the 4 games have had more turnovers than field goals against Syracuse in the tournament. And you would think it's strength on strength because Michigan's strength is offense.
An outstanding shooting team, but the key is getting open shots against this zone, but they can stretch it. But when you stretch it, I think you have to penetrate it, get into the gaps. Penetration and screening the zone can really be debilitating, but you also, Brad, have to beat it down the floor and see if you can get open opportunities in transition.
So one of these two teams advances to Monday night's championship game against the Louisville Cardinals. And again, if you missed the first semifinal matchup, it was a 1-point game at halftime. Louisville trailing. They got down as far as 12 points in the second half, and then they came storming back, and they finally turned Wichita State over a few times, and that led to some transition baskets, and then some unlikely heroes in Hancock and Henderson hit huge threes, and Louisville came back a double-digit deficit. They've done it 10 times this year, coming down from double-digit deficit to win a ball game, and when they definitely had to have it, they got it again tonight, and they did well on the free throw line down the stretch to win it 72-68. So Louisville's the #1 seed. They're supposed to be where they are Monday night. These two teams a little bit unlikely, but we're about to find out which #4 seed, Michigan or Syracuse, can meet the Cardinals on Monday night. And let's meet the Cardinals and the Wolverines right now. And for the introduction of the starting lineups, here's Jim Nantz.
Welcome back to the Georgia Dome, and now let's meet the teams for national semifinal game #2. Making their 5th Final Four appearance and the first in 10 years. Please welcome the East Regional Champion, Syracuse Orange.
Come on, baby, let the good times roll. Come on, baby, let the good times roll.
For 3. That's his game. He loves it. Trish. How about that? And he buries it. Look who took flight. The Cuse on top of their game once again.
We are Syracuse. Let's go Orange.
Starting tonight for the Syracuse Orange. At guard, a sophomore from Hamilton, Massachusetts, #1, Michael Carter Williams. At forward, a junior from Baltimore, Maryland, #5, C.J. Fair. At guard, a senior from Jamesville, New York, #20, Brandon Trish. At forward, a sophomore from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, #25, Rakeem Christmas. And at forward, a senior from Bayside, New York, #43, James Sutherland. And now, appearing in their 7th Final Four and their first in 20 years, winners of the South Regional, here are the Michigan Wolverines.
Picked up by Robinson, and he stops. Hardaway Jr., monster 3. McGarry, big man on campus. Fires for 3. The game is tied. Michigan headed to the Final Four in Atlanta.
We are Michigan. Go blue.
Starting tonight for the Michigan Wolverines. At forward, a freshman from St. John, Indiana, #1, Glenn Robinson III. At guard, a sophomore from Columbus, Ohio, #3, Trey Burke. At forward, a freshman from Chesterton, Indiana, #4, Mitch McGarry. At guard, a junior from Miami, Florida, #10, Tim Hardaway Jr. At guard, a freshman from Ontario, Canada, #11, Nick Stauskas. And introducing the head coaches for Syracuse in his 37th season for the Orange, Jim Boeheim. And for Michigan in his 6th season for the Wolverines, John Beilein.
So the second winningest coach in college basketball history against a guy that he recommended for a couple of head coaching jobs. Now they square off. Syracuse, Michigan. A date with Louisville Monday night on the line when we come back.
ESPN America's coverage of March Madness is sponsored by DiscoverAmerica.com.
Wednesday Night Baseball live on ESPN America. And we're turning up the heat early as bitter division rivals meet in St. Louis, where the Big Red Machine is once again primed and ready for action as it lines up against the hard-hitting Cardinals. Reds at Cardinals, Wednesday at 19:30 CET, live on ESPN America. ESPN Player is your online hub for the best X Games action. Catch every event from the 2013 X Games series, including all the winter and summer sports on your PC or iPad. Plus, you can pause or rewind the action, so you can replay your favorite runs over and over again. It's all live, all on demand, and it's all from €3.99. The X Games series on ESPN Player, your online hub for action sports.
ESPN America's coverage of March Madness is sponsored by DiscoverAmerica.com.
Syracuse beat Montana, California, Indiana, and Marquette to get here. Michigan beat South Dakota State, VCU, Kansas in overtime, and then routed Florida. And now a couple of 4 seeds who went on to win their respective regionals square off here at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. Our officials for Game 2. Mark Whitehead, Randy McCall, Doug Sermons, 8 combined Final Fours for those guys. So the color of the Michigan uniforms might be a little different than they were 20 years ago, but a lot of these guys get that whole Fab Five thing, even though they're not all freshmen.
Well, it's a great tradition at Michigan and at Syracuse. And these two teams very different in their approach. Syracuse plays that 2-3 zone. They're outstanding athletically, and this Michigan team likes to get out in transition, and they like to shoot the 3 ball.
Christmas and McGarry. Jump center, and it'll be the orange to handle it first, and the guy that Jay already talked about, Carter Williams.
Michigan, a man-to-man team primarily. They will play some 1-3-1 at times, but already Michael Carter Williams guarded by Burke trying to take him down into the low post. Syracuse will do that.
6-inch difference on those two guys in height. Drive, off-balance shot off the window. It'll still be Syracuse ball. And it didn't touch the rim, so the shot clock, whoop, now they turn it around. One official overruled the other.
One thing, Brad, that Michigan cannot afford to do in this game against this zone is settle for jumpers. They're going to have to make some outside shots, but they've got to do it off of moving the ball from side to side, getting the ball into the high post area, and penetrating the zone.
Yeah, they got a pass to the inside, but it's stolen away.
That's typical of this Syracuse zone. You think you've got it into a good spot, they knock it away and turn it into a turnover and offense.
And offense on the other end, a 3 is short. Got his own miss though, and then McGarry rejected inside. And here comes Burke, and Michigan's got a 3-on-2. Pull up, jumper, too strong. And now Carter Williams going the other way. 2-on-1, he dishes, and that one's rejected. Second block shot by the big guy inside.
Well, already Mitch McGarry, the freshman left-hander, having an impact on this game defensively. He's blocked 2 shots, but look at how he gets up and down the floor. He was the first big guy down on the offensive end, the first big guy down on the defensive end.
Only a freshman, but a big one at 6'10", 250 pounds.
You can see why Brady Hoke, the Michigan football coach, is very interested in this young man.
I can see why. Little scoop shot on the inside is off the mark by Fair. And now a steal. Carter Williams, but he stepped out of bounds. Syracuse on the year, 30 wins, 9 losses as Jim Boeheim passed Bob Knight behind Coach K for #2 all-time. Lost in the Big East Championship game to Louisville. And I said they had the wheels wobbling a little bit heading into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, they were not dead and buried, but as Jim Boeheim said, there were people throwing dirt on us. We were in some trouble. And I thought the turnaround they had in the Big East tournament set up their performance in this NCAA tournament to get them to the Final Four. They really picked up their offensive game, and that really helped their defense. The fact they saw the ball go through the net a little bit more.
See if they can get a shot away here. Pull-up jumper, and there's a start for Michigan as Tim Hardaway knocks it down to 3.
And that was done off of a screen. you can screen a zone. That was basically a ball screen on the top of the zone.
Fair cut off on the baseline. Actually, it didn't cut him off. Great move. I thought he was going to be stopped before he could get a shot away, and he kissed it off the window.
Well, you can see that Syracuse trying to get dribble penetration against this Michigan man-to-man defense. That's one area where Michigan has struggled defensively, is staying in front of the ball. They have been beaten on dribble penetration. They're going with this double high post. Louisville did that very effectively in the Big East tournament against the Syracuse zone.
Gary, the kick out. Stauskas got a look. His three rims out, but Glenn Robinson's there for the putback.
It's not often you have a long shot and a short rebound. It was a soft miss by Nick Stauskas, and that allowed Glenn Robinson to get that offensive stick back.
Christmas had it stripped away. Hardaway over to Burke, who almost walked and then missed the jumper. But again, Glenn Robinson with the rebound. Burke, nice pass to McGarry. Extra pass. And two, in fact.
Well, McGarry is so active on the offensive glass. He just knocks people out of the way, keeps that ball alive.
Well, Michigan's going to get a third crack at it here.
They're running a set play against it. John Beilein called it from the bench, tugging his shirt to get McGarry into the middle, and that's a shot, Brad, that he has got to hit. If he can hit that, that's going to force the middleman to come up.
Well, he just buried that one. 7-2 Michigan. Trish inside, and you can count it, and a foul.
Well, Mitch McGarry up top setting a ball screen, and that means that Michael Carter-Williams has got to come in. He did not. And Hardaway able to just pull up into that jump shot and getting the ball off the set play into the middle, and Rakeem Christmas just a little bit late getting there. McGarry just turns and buries that left-handed jumper. If he can make that, that can change the way Michigan attacks this zone.
Brandon Trish, the senior out of Jamesville, New York, with a three-point play.
Really everything that Syracuse has gotten, Brad, has been off of dribble penetration. They're putting the ball on the deck trying to go around Michigan and get to the rim.
Michigan, 30-win season, third all-time that they've done that. They're great against non-conference opponents. Got up to #1. And as Jay Billis said earlier, Trey Burke, the Wooden Award winner. Stauskas, a three. And he's missed exactly the same way both times. Robinson had a strip as he was trying to go back up by Carter-Williams.
And those soft misses led to 2 offensive rebounds for Michigan. They converted one, missed on the other.
Fair just wheels and deals. He's got 4. And we're tied.
If C.J. Fair is going to be guarded by Nick Stauskas, he is going to take him down into the low post every time. That's a matchup that Syracuse, no matter who he's guarding, may be able to take advantage of down in the low post.
Baseline threes are way off the mark. Stauskas, though, tracks it down. Didn't hit the rim, so the shot clock continues at 10.
Michigan keeping that ball alive. If they can't get it, they're just tipping it.
Stauskas, a jump stop. Gonna have to hurry on a shot now, and they don't get one away. They actually did, but not in time. Again, defense stymieing Michigan, but they did get off to a good start at the beginning. Syracuse battled back, tied at 7, 5 minutes in.
ESPN America.
Stauskas off balance, looking for a foul call. That wasn't even close, and he might have a complaint.
He got hit, and Stauskas tries to switch off of C.J. Fair, and Mitch McGarry, they don't communicate very well. That left Fair wide open. And you're not going to get an open shot like that outside of warm-ups.
8 minutes in, and it's Syracuse by 5, having trailed by 5 early.
This is as good as the Syracuse offense has been in this tournament. They have been pretty efficient for the most part.
McGarry out of that middle now on the bench for Michigan. And Carter-Williams goes to the rack with no big guy inside. Trey Burke almost palmed it and got it over to Robinson.
Good pass fake by LeVert.
LeVert, another freshman.
thing you can't afford to do is just throw it around the perimeter. You got to get some penetration, whether by the pass or the dribble.
Cuts him off. Rather Hardaway. Trish. Jumper. I think they got a hand on that one to lead it astray. And Michigan with a chance to tie. And they do at 14. A chance for a three-point play after the timeouts. Even ball game in Atlanta almost midway through the first half. We were tied at our first time out at 7, our second time out at 14, and C.J. Fair's been almost perfect, more than fair, Jay.
Well, the matchup advantages that they have against Nick Stauskas, against Tim Hardaway, and going right to C.J. Fair, and he has delivered with 9 points, 4 of 5 from the field. They left him wide open on a switch. He knocked down an open 3. He has really been carrying the Syracuse offense early.
They'll get a quick breather here at the 10:47 mark as three-point play is good by John Horford.
Horford did a nice job running the floor, coming in for Mitch McGarry, another big guy who can really run the Syracuse transition defense. Michigan doing a nice job of being there on the catch against shooters, making Sutherland crowding him when he catches it, not letting him get an open shot.
Carter Williams forces a long shot with the shot clock winding down, and now it's Cooney. Trevor Cooney, the freshman.
The best time to shoot a 3 is after an offensive rebound. The defensive team is thinking about taking it the other way. They are not thinking about playing defense again. Everybody collapses inside that three-point line. And you kick it out after an offensive rebound, you're always kicking it out to a shooter who's stepping into his shot, as Cooney was there.
Past the midway point of the first half, and a 2-point game.
Akeem Christmas gets this offensive rebound just on this little pick and roll, and when he gets it, doesn't have a stick back. It's a high percentage three-point shot that you're probably not going to get against a normal half-court offense. It's the best time to shoot a 3.
Seven on the shot clock. Now that inbounds play, LeVert had it blocked. Carter Williams trying to drive, lost the handle, and out of bounds. So Syracuse gives it right back.
Trey Burke has done a nice job on Michael Carter Williams. He is a driver first. You want him to shoot perimeter shots. He was excellent against Indiana. The shots that he took were open ones, and he had been getting to the rim both in the half court and in transition, but Jim Boeheim going to give him a little bit of a rest right now.
So the top of that zone's a little different looking now. Not quite as much length with the two guys out on top. Here's LeVert for 3. Got it.
That's a big time pass by Mitch McGarry. Getting it into the high post where he hit a shot earlier and then looking opposite to LeVert.
LeVert averaging 2 points a game, has 2 threes already in the first half, and he's put his team back in front.
Doesn't he know he's not supposed to do this in this kind of game? Didn't get the memo.
He doesn't even know there's 74,000 people in there. Here's Sutherland. Short. Tips. McGarry comes out of the pile, and on the dribble, the big guy leading the break. How about that one? That looked like a train out of control, but it was under control.
6'10" leading the break. McMagic.
Wow. It's one of the highlights of the night so far. We've had a lot of them. If you missed it, Louisville won game 1 and had to come back in dramatic fashion to do it. So they're in the title game against one of these two teams. Block shot by Trey Burke. And he's bringing it the other way. That looks a little more normal. But he has it swatted at the end.
Got a foul on Burke for pulling the jersey of Christmas. What a great play by Rakeem Christmas. But you know you've got guts if you're willing to take a charge on that.
And the no look with the left hand. How about that? Huh?
What a great play.
Good game going here in semifinal number 2. 7:49 remaining first half. Wolverines of Michigan leading by 3. Team lead right now, and some points coming from maybe some unfamiliar spots, at least on one side, in Karis LeVert with a couple of threes. C.J. Fair, as we mentioned, leading scorer for Syracuse with 9.
I'm not sure who predicted that Karis LeVert was going to lead the way for Michigan thus far, and that Trey Burke and Michael Carter-Williams, the 2 point guards, accomplished point guards for Michigan and Syracuse respectively, would be a combined 0 for 7 with no points and just a couple of assists total.
Trish on the dribble. A lot of dribbling to get nowhere. Here's Fair gliding in off the window. Doesn't get it this time. And the rebound off to Michigan and the big fella, McGarry.
Michigan's done a nice job on the glass, especially the offensive glass. And both Carter-Williams and Burke out of the ball game. Spike Albrecht running the point right now for Michigan. Good shooter.
You see that 2-3, but they got the pass behind it. And then the foul as Jordan Morgan's going to go to the free throw line.
Well, Syracuse will bring the wings up at times, and oftentimes it can look like a 2-2-1 instead of a 2-3. And Jordan Morgan, who just came into the ballgame, did a nice job playing with 2 big guys. Is Michigan. He stayed along the baseline behind the zone and sort of got lost back there.
And he buries the free throw, and he has not been a good free throw shooter. We saw Russ Smith of Louisville, a great free throw shooter, start 0 for 4 from the line in the first game tonight. A lot of people talk about an arena this big and the depth. It's LeVert with a rebound.
See if Michigan brings the 2 big guys up to the high post and attack the zone that way.
3-pointer's good by Albrecht. Jay just said it. It's a good shooter. He buries one, and Michigan has its biggest lead. Michigan 15-3 in the last 6 minutes or so. Again, points coming from not likely sources at times in this first half. Albrecht buries the 3. Jim Boeheim's team down by 7 as they've gone cold from the floor. They've only hit one of their last 6 shots, going on an almost a 4-minute run. Meanwhile, Michigan's on a 9-0 push of their own.
And Syracuse has not gotten second shots. Michigan switching those exchanges out top. But it's been 1 and out for Syracuse. They've either made it or Michigan's taken it the other way.
There's a 2-pointer by Brandon Trish. He's got 5 on the game.
Michigan has had some success against this 2-3 zone, going to Mitch McGarry right around the free throw line. He's not panicked there. He's screened it. He's made some good passes. Good screen.
They cut Morgan off, but McGarry underneath draws a foul from Christmas.
Here's McGarry getting the ball at the high post. That draws by Musakeda up to him, and that means that down in the lower left, James Sutherland has got to guard the low post, but he's also got to get out and guard the baseline. Spike Albrecht, after McGarry looks opposite, able to nail that 3. And the majority of shots that Michigan has gotten against this zone have been from the 3-point line. Now, they've hit enough of them to give them the lead, but traditionally you take this number of 3s.
They've taken 13 already.
Boy, and it's going to catch up with you. You know, Syracuse's zone can wear you out taking too many 3s. You fall in love with it, you don't attack the basket.
Mitch McGarry has struggled from the free throw line all season long, but he got the second. 5 for McGarry. The lead is 6.
Running a set called Circle.
And that one tipped by Burke. He splits a double team, and Syracuse runs down the ball before it hits the sideline. 10 on the shot clock. Carter-Williams a drive, a finger roll. The follow by Christmas is good.
Anytime you go after a blocked shot that can take you away from defensive rebounding responsibilities, that's exactly what happened there. Michael Carter-Williams on the penetration. Too many yellow shirts going after the blocked shot, and then an easy stick back for Christmas.
Burke and Albrecht, the 2 guards in there now. A little different combination.
Syracuse has not been quite as active in this zone with their hands. Harder to get a deflection when your hands are down by your sides.
Burke got his man in the air. Extra dribble, and now the long ball goes again for Albrecht. He's got 2 big threes, the freshman out of Crown Point, Indiana. They match their biggest advantage. Up 7. Wraparound pass. Christmas got hacked, and I mean hacked. Could hear it way over here by McGarry.
Spike up just faked a charge there, but the guys that we talked about, Brad, at the beginning of the broadcast, Michael Carter-Williams and Trey Burke, 2 of the best point guards in the country. I mean, they have brought it every game this year. Neither one of them scored yet. I mean, who could have predicted that?
Raheem Christmas misses the first of 2.
Burke has had games where he has not played well in the first half. Earlier in this NCAA tournament, didn't score in the first half, then had 23 points in the second and in overtime against Kansas.
Albrecht gets a huge ovation from the folks in maize and blue on the far side behind their bench.
And leading that ovation was John Beilein, his head coach.
Looking like a genius to have him out there.
You're darn right.
Stauskas has yet to score.
Michigan's doing a nice job of screening the top of the zone. They've gotten some opportunities from that, but they still have to penetrate.
And a foul as Stauskas tried to walk through a double team and was fouled by Trish. How about Albrecht's 3? Way out there by the Final Four logo.
GoverAmerica.com.
Second time in this first half that Michigan has led by 7. Just under 4 minutes remaining in the first half. John Beilein, his 6th year at Michigan in Boeheim, and his 37th as the head coach of the Orange. Their last trip to the Final Four was 10 years ago when they won it all. To have a chance to play Louisville again for the title, they're going to have to come from behind. Michigan with 3:40 remaining in the first half.
In order to jump up and get the lead, Syracuse is going to have to get stops. Nice pass.
Great pass to Robinson. McGarry doing a little bit of everything. That's his 2nd dime of the ball game.
Really operating effectively in that high post. He looked opposite to Nick Stauskas and then was able to hit the low post. That was beautiful.
He's just matched his career high in assists for a single game. Fair had the hot hand early. Here's Trish. Rimmed out of 3, and number 3's got the rebound. Trey Burke on the run.
As good as McGarry's been in that high post, I think you want to put him in that position again.
Stauskas. That one rimmed out. He hit the deck. Would have given him a double-digit lead. Carter-Williams has it stolen by Burke. McGarry, a little finger roll. Got it back, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Well, that was a big-time rebound by Mitch McGarry. He can really run. And here's the terrific pass. He faked the pass out to Stauskas. That got C.J. Fair to jump into that passing lane and opened up that baseline pass. That was just beautifully done by Mitch McGarry.
If he ever gets this part of his game down, he's going to be a monster.
Nation of tremendous strength, and he's got a very nice touch, a good feel, and he's got nimble feet. You know, they say he'd make a great tight end. He'd make a good double tight end set.
Got 1 of 2 as he did his last trip to the line. Michigan 6-0 run here in the last 2 minutes and change. Nice bounce pass underneath. Good look. Musakeda, his first basket.
a little pick and roll on the right side, and a really nice pass around the defender by Brandon Trish. Musakate has done a really nice job in the middle of that zone toward the end of this season, especially from the Big East tournament on.
Again, they got it to the high post. They get it back for an 18-footer straight away. Glenn Robinson the third. He's got 6 for Little Dog.
Well, the passing has been impressive. Getting it into the middle, passing it out, and then getting it back.
Carter Williams on top and still with a goose egg on the board until now.
Well, that's his game, is putting it on the deck and driving it. He's been settling for jump shots a little bit earlier. Syracuse already given up 33 points. Remember, they only gave up 39 in the regional final to Marquette.
I was going to ask you, with a minute to go, you've seen these guys and done more Syracuse games than anybody in the country. Is this as good as anybody's played them so far for a half?
It is. They have been knocking shots down. The passing has been crisp. This has been an excellent offensive performance by Michigan in this first half.
And Trey gets his first tray of the night. Burke from three-point land, and it's a double-digit advantage up to 11. Michigan crowd going crazy with 40 seconds remaining in the half. Fair pull-up jumper. Rebound, McGarry.
John Beilein telling his team to slow down. He wants them to slow the tempo and use some clock.
He might take a timeout here. Use it or lose it. As the shot clock's off.
I'm not sure they really need it. With as well as they've been playing, well, he's calling it.
Timeout with 14 and a half to go. What a performance by Michigan so far. And the maize and blue going crazy here in the South. 36-25 Wolverines. Skyline of Atlanta, Georgia. Michigan shining in the evening sky here in the South by 11 over Syracuse. 36-25 the halftime score, as they've been able to shoot around, over, and through the Syracuse defense. 6 out of 17 from three-point land for Michigan to help them to the 11-point halftime lead. Who's going to play at Louisville? We've got 20 more minutes to find out. Right now, Michigan's in the driver's seat, but there's a lot of basketball left. But the Cardinals of Louisville are already in Monday night's matchup for the title game. But early on, Clee Anthony early did a little bit of everything for the Shockers of Wichita State, who came in as the underdog. They started off to an 8-0 lead in the ball game. And at that time, Louisville was having some trouble getting their offense going. But once Russ Smith, who started 0 for 4 from the free throw line, got a breakaway here in transition and got his first basket, then he went to work from the outside. And he hit back-to-back-to-back threes. That got Louisville back in the ball game. They trailed by 1 at halftime. They got down double digits in the second half. And then some unlikely heroes. Tim Henderson, a couple of threes. Very seldom did he play in the regular season. Those were huge. And then Luke Hancock, another guy that everybody said, okay, who's Luke Hancock? How about one shot off his career high in the second half of that ball game? And he did it in a variety of ways, with a right hand, around everybody with a left hand. And he had enough guts to take some huge three-point shots, 3 of them that went in. And that's how it ended. Louisville 72-68 as they came from behind, and it was an impressive comeback win, Jay.
There is no question that Louisville, after Wichita State, Brad, went 26 minutes without a turnover. Louisville then turned them over on 5 out of the next 7 possessions. And that really turned the game. And you mentioned Tim Henderson knocked down those 2 big threes to cut the lead from 12-6. That was absolutely gigantic in Louisville's comeback.
So the Cardinals are going to play for the crown on Monday night against either Michigan or Syracuse. We've still got a half left in this one, but at the break, Michigan leads 36-25. We'll hear from some of the Louisville Cardinals what they had to say following the game when we return to Atlanta for our second semifinal game right after this timeout.
GoverAmerica.com.
Brad Nessler and Jay Billis back at the Georgia Dome. We've got one half of basketball left here tonight. Semifinal number 2. Michigan leads 36-25 at halftime. As we take a look at some of the halftime highlights and take you back. The big fella did a lot of everything, Jay.
Mitch McGarry was tremendous in that first half. Early in the game, running the floor, blocking 2 shots out of the gate, then operating in the high post of that zone, knocking down a shot, finishing with strength inside. He rebounded well. He really passed at a high level out of that high post, finding people on the perimeter, then down low with Glenn Robinson. And for the Orange, it was C.J. Fair, 9 points in the first half. He was the go-to guy offensively in a first half where Michael Carter-Williams didn't do much and Trey Burke didn't do much. And of the 6 threes that Michigan made, 4 of them were from Spike Albrecht and Karis LeVert. Like, who would have thought that coming into this game?
And 2 of them were from almost half court. Anyway, 16 bench points for Michigan helped the cause too. As you take a look at the stats, 45% from the floor. Syracuse only at 41. Get a load of this now. Michigan had 11 assists on 13 made field goals. They had 11 assists and 2 turnovers. That's pretty special.
Well, when you don't turn it over against this Syracuse defense, it puts you in a position to get shots. That means you can also get offensive rebounds, the opportunity to get fouled. And being that good with the ball, that kind of ball security, puts you in a position to win a game against a team like Syracuse.
They went the last 16 minutes of the half without a turnover. Here's the leading scorers. C.J. Fair with 9. Trish with 5. Cooney with the 3-pointer. And again, as Jay said, Carter-Williams and Southerland basically no-shows. 2 points and 0 points for those 2 guys. And for Michigan, well, Trey Burke usually leads the way. He had 1 3-pointer. It was these guys instead. McGarry, LeVert, and Albrecht with 6 each. Great balanced scoring for Michigan to get up to their 36-point total. Second half of semifinal number 2. The winner plays Louisville for the national championship Monday. Who's it going to be? We've got a half to find out when we come back. 20 minutes to find out who plays Louisville Monday night for the national championship. And all the talk this week for an entire week was, could anybody figure out the Syracuse 2-3 zone? Michigan by 11. So far, so good, I'd say, partner.
Michigan has done a terrific job of attacking the zone. They've gotten some open opportunities, some second shots on the offensive glass. But it's really the 6 threes that they have made. 4 of those 6 have come from unlikely sources. Spike Albrecht, Karis LeVert have hit 4 of those 6. And I think Jim Boeheim has to feel like his offense has to step forward and get better, because his defense hadn't been bad. You know, they gave up 36 points. That is way over what they have been giving up in this tournament. But I don't think you can expect in the Final Four that you're going to hold teams to under 30%. But part of that has to do with the fact they played Montana in the first half and the Grizzlies couldn't do anything. They had one of Wayne Tinkle's team at its worst night perhaps ever. And you got to give credit to Syracuse for that, but it skewed the numbers a little bit.
Well, coming into this game, their opponents were shooting 28% outside the paint, and Michigan doing a lot better than that tonight. So the second half underway. Where will Syracuse points come from other than Fair? He started strong in the first part of the game. He starts strong in the second half of the game. 11 for Fair.
They don't really seem to have anybody that they can put on C.J. Fair. They tried Robinson on him. They've tried Stauskas, Hardaway Jr., and he has taken advantage of each matchup.
Trey Burke had only 3 points on a long 3-pointer in the first half. And Stauskas was scoreless, and he was 6 for 6 from outside the arc in the win over Florida to get here.
Dangerous pass there by Nick Stauskas ultimately turns into a turnover. It was deflected when he tried to get it into Robinson at the high post.
So we're talking about them going the final 16 minutes of the first half without a turnover, and here a minute into the second half they turn it over in front of their own bench.
And when you get a stop, when you're down, you have to get a score.
Trish got his own miss. Fair. Now Christmas. 3 chances and 0 for right now. Fair trying to save it, but he saved it right to Tim Hardaway. And it'll be Michigan ball. Our star comparison. These are the guys we were bragging up in the pregame. They haven't come through for us.
Well, I have a hard time believing that they're not going to come through in the second half and pick up their performances, because Trey Burke has been incredibly consistent. in putting up numbers throughout the course of the season. He's playing against a different defense than he sees, but he is a very talented player that I think will find a way to put numbers up before the game's over.
In the win over Florida, he had 15 points, but he assisted on 17 more points in that ball game. Here he is. Almost took the jumper. Stauskas lets the defense run by, and he missed another one. Carter Williams with a rebound.
Well, that length has bothered Nick Stauskas. He has forced a couple, and what looked like open shots have closed up and been challenge shots quickly.
Sutherland still not there. Might have a change of who's got the ball. We do.
Second time in the ball game that Mark Whitehead has had his calls changed along the baseline.
That's why they work so well together to get it right. And so Syracuse a fresh shot clock here.
Nice.
Not going to need the shot clock with that move.
Wow. What a move by C.J. Fair. There's that tug shirt set where they've gotten somebody into the high post, and there's McGarry.
They lob it into him, and he goes straight up with it. Missed the shot, though. But the long carom comes out to Hardaway. And Tim's going to take a three and got it.
Well, that will go down as a second chance point. 3 of them. Just because Michigan was able to corral that rebound.
Sutherland trying to get it back to Christmas and threw it away. Michigan running. Hardaway. Heat check didn't work. And the rebound will be Fairs.
Well, Christmas was going after that ball, and McGarry just grabbed him, stopped his forward progress.
Carter Williams, nice hook pass. In close. Christmas foul by McGarry. A chance for a three-point play.
That was a pretty play by Michael Carter Williams. Stopped without walking and just let the defense fly by. And not a very smart foul by Mitch McGarry. Although Rakeem Christmas not a great free throw shooter, you just don't want to give up the foul there.
Right. A 59% free throw shooter, in fact. Knocks it down. 3-point play. And it gets it back to 7.
Well, the crowd now starting to get into it in Syracuse, a little bit more active. Now they've had a couple of scores. Their defense looks a little bit more focused.
You know, when they came out to warm up for the second half, I didn't like their body language, but I like it a lot better now.
Funny how the ball going through the net changes the way you look at the world. Good pass.
McGarry down low, kicks it out. LeVert almost turned it over. 3 to shoot. Hardaway rims out a 3. Fair with a rebound and a handoff to Carter Williams.
Oh, that was a nice play by Sutherland.
Yeah, the Orange give it right back though. And Burke is forced out of bounds. Foul by Sutherland, I think. That'll bring us to the timeout with 15:58 remaining. So the 11-point halftime lead has dwindled a little bit. Michigan up by 7.
ESPN.
We're back in Atlanta. This is my favorite play of the night so far, Jay. McGarry on the break with a no-look left-hand pass with his tongue hanging out.
The runaway freight train. Boy, with that size, to be able to move his feet that effectively, he's got such a good feel for the game. He's got 6 points. He's 2 of 4 from the field, but he's also grabbed 7 rebounds, and that doesn't count the ones he's kept alive that his teammates have gotten. He's got 4 assists and 2 block shots. That's a pretty productive first half and change.
Easily a career high in assists. He doubled his previous career best. So number 4 with 4 dimes as well tonight. Here he is out on top. And then his 5th assist is a slam by Robinson.
He has just been spectacular in the middle of that zone. That was a no-look pass again to the baseline, looking to the perimeter and hitting the baseline for that slam.
I better put him at the point. Rebound by LeVert off the backside. And now Burke alive. Oh! That would have been sensational, but it didn't go for Robinson. Trish the other way. The handoff, and it's stolen by Burke.
And Trey Burke has made some terrific steals in this game.
McGarry off the feed from Burke. Jim Boeheim's seen enough. The lead goes back to where it was at halftime. Matching their biggest advantage of the night. The guy that we just talked about. Doing a little bit of everything. The big fella. Michigan by 11. Syracuse had cut the 11-point lead at halftime down to 7, but now it's swelled back to 11 with 15:08 remaining. And Syracuse is going to have to find some offense from somebody other than C.J. Fair to get back in this basketball game.
Well, this is where Syracuse has struggled during the course of the season. They've not been a great half-court offensive team.
And a whistle and a foul on Hardaway. He is second.
Jim Boeheim isolating C.J. Fair down on the block with Tim Hardaway on him. He just spun to that right shoulder to get to his left hand. And Hardaway fouled him going up.
First trip to the free throw line for C.J. Fair, who leads Syracuse with 13 right now. This would put him right on his season average. But it rims out.
Really, Syracuse just a couple of stops, couple of buckets away from making this a tight game. And putting a little bit more game pressure on Michigan. They've been playing with the lead.
So 14 for Fair, but not enough from anybody else for Syracuse. Michigan's had an assist on their last 14 baskets.
Michigan's done such a good job of moving the ball. They've screened the zone. They've overloaded it.
This shot by McGarry gives Syracuse an opportunity to get it back to single digits.
They're not going to get a better shot than that. That's a shot you got to make.
Or at least take.
Yes. And usually you don't see Syracuse giving up open opportunities that close to the rim.
McGarry battling for the rebound. Still loose, so Syracuse picks it up. They throw up a prayer. Second chance for Grant underneath, and he got it. Tough battle for the freshman to stay with it and get the second shot to go.
He was fouled. It wasn't called. A lot of contact that Jeremy Grant had to play through. But boy, did he pursue that ball.
Now do they get the stop on the other end?
Well, McGarry's made some good decisions with that ball, but he's going to have to shoot that ball when he gets it that close to the rim.
LeVert on a runner. Got it. LeVert's got 8 off the Michigan bench.
This is the best that Karis LeVert has played all season long. Talk about at the right time.
Good drive to the hoop by Brandon Trish. His first basket of the second half.
Michigan's going to have to tighten up this defense to let Syracuse have layups. And ultimately, that zone is going to force perimeter shots. You're going to have to make those, but you can't give up layups on the other end.
Again, the player of the year with a ball in hand has 1 field goal tonight. A three-pointer from about 28 feet away. There's McGarry. He will take this one, but he's missed 2 of them in a row now. And that might get him a little too gun shy.
Well, that's what this zone can do to you. Wide open shot there.
Had the rebound and lost it to Fair. And now hammers him to send Fair to the free throw line.
Hey, Mitch McGarry does not get cheated on fouls.
No, he doesn't. Well, going to the butcher shop in there.
What a terrific steal by C.J. Fair. You know, you bring that ball down, you look over your left shoulder, and he takes it right away from you. That's really well done. And after losing the ball. You know, that's never a good feeling for a big guy. You get it stripped away, and sometimes you wind up taking a swing at somebody just out of frustration.
And with that, he picks up his 3rd foul and heads to the Michigan bench. It'll be a different look now. Horford will come in on the inside, but he's not the physical presence that big number 4 is.
Nor is he the passer or finisher. And it'll give Syracuse more of an opportunity to attack off the dribble and get to the rim.
C.J. Fair knocks them both down, and it's cut to 6. Here comes the orange. LeVert, nice pass, maybe too deep. Almost lost it on the baseline.
Well, you were exactly right about too deep, and that's where the zone can really trap us along that baseline, along the sideline, and Michigan's done a pretty good job of keeping it out of both those places.
Carter Williams knocks it out of bounds.
You can see Syracuse a little bit more active with their hands, getting out into passing lanes, getting some deflections.
Burke way downtown. Battle for the rebound. Horford's going to lose the battle and pick up the foul.
Well, those shots, Spike Albrecht in the first half, Trey Burke, both hit shots from what, 35 feet it seemed like?
It seems like.
And that was another deep 3 that was a low percentage shot.
Trish almost lost it out of bounds.
Here comes that high screen.
Williams a kick out to Fair. Missed a 3. And knocked out of bounds by Syracuse. Michigan ball. It'll be their ball with a 6-point lead when we return. 11:43 to play for a chance to meet Louisville Monday for the title.
ESPN.
Back in Atlanta. 11:43 remaining to see who plays Louisville Monday night for the national championship in this very site at the Georgia Dome. With Jay Billis, Brad Nessler along with you. Jim Boeheim trying to win game number 921 in his brilliant career. More importantly, trying to get to that final against the guy he hired as his first assistant coach, Rick Pitino. That would be the coaching matchup, a couple of Hall of Famers. John Beilein's got different plans, at least so far. And Syracuse is getting absolutely nothing from a couple of guys they expected big performances from. They combined for about 25, 26 points a game.
Well, when Sutherland was in the game, he's not in the game right now. Michigan has been with him on the catch. They've taken away those catch and shoot threes. Okay, half of Michigan's shots, 21 of their 42 shots in this game, have come from three-point range. They're going to have to mix in some inside the line.
There comes another one, but it was well short. And Syracuse with a chance now to get it back to 4 or less.
When you take that many threes, you take away the opportunity for Syracuse to pick up some fouls.
Fair baseline jumper. It is down to 4.
I think this three-point shooting by Michigan is playing into the hands of the Syracuse defense. They've got to get something in the lane, going toward the basket, penetrating. That'll give more of an opportunity for a good offensive rebound opportunity.
But they don't have that big hoss inside. McGarry's on the bench with 3 fouls. That doesn't help him. There they do get the pass, the extra pass, but there's 3 guys right there wearing orange with those long arms. And the possession arrow gives it back to Syracuse.
Well, Syracuse has so many players that have 7-foot-plus wingspans. Jeremy Grant, one of them. Not an offensive player, but an excellent defensive player. And as John Horford goes up, Grant didn't even have to leave the floor in order to tie that ball up. And now Syracuse takes it the other way with a chance to make this a one-possession game and really put some game pressure on Michigan after they have played comfortably with the lead for a long period of time in this game.
Fair has been the man. got his own miss. Missed it twice in close. And now McGarry had it knocked away from him. Out of bounds to Michigan.
Well, there is a lot of contact on shooters around the basket in this game. And you had better be prepared to finish through that contact, because you are not getting any calls in this one. And John Beilein calling that tug shirt set, which has gotten somebody in the middle. It's been McGarry. And when he catches it in the middle, he's done a good job of passing it.
Michigan's hit 7 threes. And they've done a lot better than the previous opponents of Syracuse in this tournament. Timeout was called. I don't think Coach Beilein's too excited about that, or the fact that it got to that situation to start with. Just over 10 to play. 4-point game in Atlanta. Half of a half remaining, and the survivor will go on to meet Louisville Monday night for the championship. Syracuse has cut what was once an 11-point deficit down to 4. Burke, a lob. Kind of a lazy lob, but McGarry handles it. And then they throw it away anyway.
Well, McGarry was able to come up with that ball, but I'm not sure that John Beilein wants him attacking off the dribble from 30 feet away from the basket. That led to that turnover. And the Syracuse defense has been much more active, and where the Orange have been really active is on the glass. They have out-rebounded Michigan 16-5 in this second half. An 11-rebound advantage for the Orange.
Carter Williams goes to the rack, and it's a charge. That's his third. Hasn't been his night, Jay. Not yet, anyway.
No, you have to stop short there. I'm not sure that's a call that needs to be made in the college game, but you have to expect that you're going to get that call if you stand in front of an offensive player.
Stauskas standing over on the wing. He has not scored tonight. Hardaway squares up. Missed the jumper. McGarry keeps it alive. He'll try another. Hardaway. Got it.
Well, that's the kind of three-point shot that is much better for Michigan after an offensive rebound. But I think that offensive rebound was available because they got a shot inside of the line.
Tim Hardaway Jr.'s third three-pointer of the night. He's in double figures with 11. On the drive in the paint, Musakeda with his second field goal.
Really nice pick and roll. Brandon Trish called for it and then just dropped it off to Musakeda, and that was a really good catch and finish. Syracuse continuing to attack off the dribble and get the ball to the rim. That's not been what Michigan has been trying to do or able to do. They've had to settle for a lot of jump shots in the second half.
They might have another one upcoming. 4 on the shot clock. Here it comes. Hardaway clangs it. Gary, though, another rebound, and then he hit the backboard trying to outlet that pass.
Surprised that wasn't called a violation.
Fair. Wow. He has done it from every spot on the court tonight. He's single-handedly keeping the Orange in this thing. This is as close as it's been since 7:49 remained in the first half. And the folks in orange in the Georgia Dome aware of that. C.J. Fair. 20 points on the night. That one was big. Back in Atlanta, a 3-point game now. Syracuse has come from 11 down in the half and right in the thick of things.
And C.J. Fair has been better than fair in this ball game. There has not been a matchup that John Beilein can find that can slow down C.J. Fair.
Almost threw that one away. Stauskas, but Hardaway got it.
And Syracuse has gotten some deflections, but they've been unable to come away with the ball.
Hardaway has it tipped. Kick out to Burke with 4 to shoot. Back to McGarry. He got mugged underneath by Fair.
Looked like he walked first, but did get fouled.
So Fair picks up. Well, maybe it was Sutherland with a foul. 7:14 remaining in the ball game. To say it's been physical tonight would be an understatement. McGarry almost lost his chin on that one. Back in Atlanta, you think this was a walk, huh, partner?
Yeah, he got away with one before he got fouled, but you know, oftentimes when there's that kind of contact, even after the walk, C.J. Ferg is checking to see whether Mitch McGarry had a close shave this morning.
So, Michigan will inbound with a fresh shot clock, and Mitch McGarry still in one piece.
And really, when you, if the walk wasn't going to be called, not a bad foul because it saved a bucket. And Syracuse a long way from the 1-and-1.
Dangerous inbound pass again. Carter Williams got a hand on it.
He thought Hardaway touched it last. That's the second time they've tried to lob the ball up there. Carter Williams has gotten a hand on it and thought it was deflected off a Michigan player. And Michigan shooting 28% in this second half overall and from 3. And over half of Michigan's shots have been outside of the arc.
Burke slipped a little bit on the dribble. Burke draws a double team. Under 10 to shoot again, and they throw it away again.
Well, they're getting the ball out of the hands of Trey Burke, and
Fair the kick out. Sutherland for the tie. In and out.
Sutherland is not going to get a more wide open shot than that.
Hardaway on a runner. He might have gotten bumped too on the shot, but the Karam comes out to him, and he'll give it off to Burke. We approach 6 minutes.
Hardaway's struggled in this game. He's 4 of 15. They're going to try to look for McGarry in the middle. They call him that same set.
There it is. Bounce pass, kind of dangerous, but did get it to Glenn Robinson III.
Syracuse much more active. That would have been a bucket in the first half. They closed that pass down quickly.
Burke weaving through traffic. Short on the runner, got his own miss somehow in the tall timbers, and then hit the deck. And there'll be a foul on Syracuse. I think it's on Fair again.
Michigan's gotten some second chance opportunities by just keeping the ball alive and knocking it away. And McGarry's going to have to wear a helmet.
He took another one, an elbow for Musakeda that time.
Taking into the chops on every play.
Trey Burke struggling as a scorer tonight. Scored almost 19 a game over the course of the season. Has 1 3-pointer.
And you wonder if that's going to frustrate him to where he might take a bad one, because he has not had a game like this where he's gone this deep in the game with only 3-4 points.
The season low is 6. He got the second of 2. Under 6 minutes. Michigan by 4. Here's Fair, the leading scorer, going straight up. A little too strong on that one. The rebound off to LeVert.
Nice job by Robinson to knock that away. Syracuse looked like they were getting an offensive rebound, and Robinson was the guy that knocked it away to a teammate.
Man, they get to you in a hurry when you think you're open, don't they?
But they're going for fakes, so shot fakes, ball fakes. Syracuse is biting on them.
Carter Williams staying right with Burke, but he did give him just a little bit of room, and he missed again. A runner, but it's tipped in.
It looked like it was Robinson. He has been so active on the glass. Both he and McGarry were right there.
10 for Glenn Robinson III. Lead back to a half dozen. The Michigan faithful have made the most noise in this building tonight.
Michigan has been really strong in going to the offensive glass, and Glenn Robinson just got inside position on C.J. Fair, and really as an offensive player blocked out the defense with that inside position, was able to tip it in with that left hand. He has been really active on the glass all game long and has worked the baseline extremely well.
His dad, Glenn Big Dog Robinson, Player of the Year in his final season in college basketball, but never made it to the championship game. He's living through his son vicariously, he said this week, living here in the Atlanta area, hoping his kid can make it to Monday against Louisville. They got 4.5 minutes left to do it. LeVert, another rebound. He's been a big presence both as a scorer and on the glass tonight. The freshman out of Pinkerton, Ohio. 4 rebounds to go with 8 points.
It is a big possession for Michigan. The 2-possession game, a 6-point lead. If they could stretch this out right here to go under 4 minutes, up 8 or 9, that would be big.
McGarry wheels, deals. Double-double for the big fella. The lead's up to 8. And timeout. Jim Boeheim can't wait for the TV timeout. He'll take it here. 3:46 remaining. You see the maize and blue in the stands of the Georgia Dome. Pretty excited about what they're seeing right now. Wolverines trying to get to Monday night's championship against Louisville. They're 3:46 away. Well, Jim Boeheim's Orange are going to have to find a way to get stops and find offense from somewhere other than C.J. Fair. They're down 53-45 with 3:46 remaining in regulation. That's not what they were looking for coming out of a timeout. I can tell you that much. Michigan will have the ball. 3:38. Mitch McGarry, the big freshman, has done a little bit of everything. Double digits on the boards. With that shot, double digits in scoring. Back in Atlanta, an 8-point game with 3:38 remaining. Michigan in front. During that timeout, Mitch McGarry, the big guy right there, number 4, has got quite a line going tonight. You think he's excited? I'd say. Let's work. Whether he's working tonight, I don't know that. 10 points, 11 rebounds, a career-high 6 assists, and 2 block shots.
He is a high-energy, high-intensity player, but he has made some really good decisions in this game as well.
Some backcourt pressure now, and Michigan's got to take a timeout. LeVert couldn't get the ball in. So we'll have to take one with him. No change in the score or the time. Just that Michigan's down to 1 timeout.
Sunday Night Baseball live on ESPN America. It's gonna be wild in the West as these divisional rivals face off. Josh Hamilton leads the Angels back to his old home in Dallas, but don't expect any warm welcome from the Texas faithful. Angels at Rangers tomorrow at 0200 CET, live on ESPN America.
ESPN America in association with DiscoverAmerica.com.
Back at the Georgia Dome, the site for the national championship on Monday night. Louisville, will they play Syracuse? Will they play Michigan? Right now, it's Michigan by 8, 3:38 to play.
Michigan has done a great job of playing without turning the ball over, and now Syracuse is going to try to put on some full court pressure. And Trey Burke does a really nice job of driving into a defender that didn't have the angle.
Drish picks up his 2nd foul. And again, trying to swarm in the backcourt. Trying to trap Trey Burke. Carter Williams, but that length almost did.
And the first ball game between Wichita State and Louisville, the 2 teams shot 52 free throws. In this game, a combined 17.
This time, Carter Williams does break it up. Ahead, Fair. Burke trying to swipe it out of his hands, but couldn't get to it.
Really the first transition basket Syracuse has gotten in a while, and this pressure is starting to make things happen. And one thing you cannot do, Brad, is throw that ball up for grabs. You have to be strong with it. Your teammates have to present themselves as receivers, and you've got to deliver the ball.
A little shaky, Levert being the inbound man. Hardaway. He'll take it all the way to the rack and had it stripped.
Well, that was a foul. It just wasn't called. There's way too much contact for that not to be called.
There's been a bunch of it tonight in this game.
Syracuse has had success taking to the basket. They've got to continue that.
This guy's been sensational tonight. Fair, and he got hip checked by Hardaway.
There's no question that's a foul.
Albrecht back in there in the backcourt now for Michigan. Hit a couple of big threes in the first half.
Syracuse has had some success in getting some openings on out-of-bounds plays, and they've gotten Fair open a couple of times. Michael Carter-Williams is going to come off a little double with Fair and Christmas, and you have to watch Sutherland coming off afterwards.
Carter-Williams, one field goal. There's a three-pointer. Way too strong. And Albrecht, I was going to say, known for his offense more than his defense, and the smallest guy on the court comes up with a big rebound.
Sutherland and Michael Carter-Williams, a combined 1 for 13 in this game. That's not going to get it done.
Out to Burke. He's going to burn some clock, or try to. But Carter-Williams making life difficult for him with those long arms. The wraparound pass is a throwaway.
A lot of bad decisions by Michigan. They're trying to burn clock, then they try to make something happen. And you know, for much of this game, they were really smart not turning the ball over. Now the last few possessions, they've coughed it up.
They had 2 at halftime. Now they got 9. Sutherland. That's a high percentage shot. And his first. And he might save this. Help stepped on the sideline.
Well, Syracuse is getting some deflections and just a poor closeout by Tim Hardaway Jr. and Sutherland took advantage of it. And nobody comes over. Mitch McGarry doesn't step in to take a charge or block a shot.
And Michigan's just used its final timeout, trying to get the ball inbounds. McGarry didn't step in. Coach Beilein telling him that, but he's playing with 3 fouls. We got a 4-point game. Under 2 minutes. Michigan is out of timeouts. That could be huge, Jay.
It could be that can be a big factor coming down the stretch. The fouls also. You know, Syracuse has another foul to give before they put Michigan on the foul line. They can be aggressive in going after the ball, and they have been. But Michigan, a couple possessions, taking the ball out of bounds. They've almost gotten 5-second calls. They've burned those 2 timeouts. You know, once you get to 4, you're not allowed to call a timeout. Now they don't have them. And I think you're going to see Syracuse even more aggressive, trying to keep the Wolverines from getting the ball in bounds.
They could have used another timeout 20 years ago. Didn't have one there either.
That's exactly right.
Tim Hardaway Jr. will inbound. Got it to Albrecht down the run. The wrap around to McGarry, and he'll bring it back on top.
It looked like he carried it when he was bringing it back out, but.
And a foul on Carter-Williams, and that's his 4th.
Well, look at the referee looking at Michael Carter-Williams like he was too demonstrative. All he has to do is call the foul. If he's too demonstrative, call the technical. You don't need to stand there and look at him. That's a tough one.
Almost did a handstand to get out of it. He's still pleading his case to no avail. So Michigan continuing with inbounds passes and now fresh clocks that they'd like to burn.
Syracuse having to press, go man to man. And looking for a quick trap.
And they spread the floor. Down to 1:25 to play. 20 on the shot clock. Double team on Burke. Almost gave it up. And now they're going to foul Hardaway. And Hardaway will go to the free throw line.
Not sure whether that was necessary. If you had a shorter clock. Now it's up to Hardaway to knock these down.
And he does, the first in a row.
There's still plenty of time, even if Hardaway hits this and it's a 6-point game. There's plenty of time. You don't have to come down and jack up a three. Get the ball to the rim.
Tim Hardaway Jr. And there's Tim Hardaway Sr. on the list to possibly go into the Basketball Hall of Fame with the announcement on Monday. Watching his kid, as we talked about Glenn Robinson doing likewise here in Georgia. It's a 2-possession game, but it's up to 6. And a foul.
An illegal screen on Michael Carter-Williams, and he is not at all pleased.
And he's also gone.
An unusual call this late in the ball game. And to have the offensive foul, the defensive foul where he's looking for the charge on the trap, and then the offensive foul on the little brush screen.
And that's his 5th foul. And he leaves with 2 points, only 1 out of 6 from the floor, and 5 rebounds. And he's not happy with his performance. And now there goes your point guard and all that length on your defense and your hopes of maybe coming up with some key steals or stops. And the dejected Michael Carter-Williams on the Syracuse bench. His night is over. Albrecht, they're chasing him all over the floor and finally fouling. So they'll send the freshman to the free throw line. Hasn't been there many times this year, but he's hit them all.
He's an excellent shooter and has really shot the ball well from the perimeter in this tournament. Came in and hit 2 big threes in the first half.
9 for 9 from the free throw line on the season. Well, kiss of death there from me. Still 2-possession game, 6-point difference, 60 seconds to go.
Well, that's the last thing you want to do is foul in that situation. John Beilein complaining about the call, but there was clearly contact. And given some of the calls that have been whistled against Syracuse the last couple of possessions, you have to expect that call is going to be made.
That's 4 on Mitch McGarry. Chris knocks down the free throw.
It's really funny given the amount of contact we've seen in this game. Some of the calls recently have been of the minimal contact variety when they've let that go the whole game.
2 big free throws. And now it's a 4-point game.
I don't think Syracuse has to foul right away here. I think you want to go for a steal. See if you can get a trap. And then once it crosses half court, if you can't get another trap, then you foul.
And they're going to foul Burke right away. And even as good a free throw shooter, he just said trap first. You could read his lips, just what you were talking about.
And it's really with that much time left, you want to give your opponent an opportunity to turn it over. You know, it's a late game situation. Tension is high. You don't want to just foul right away and make it a free throw shooting contest. There's plenty of time left to get a steal.
Trey Burke for a couple here. He's 1 for 2 from the stripe tonight. Buries that one.
So even if this one is made, we're looking at a 2-possession game. And that means just under a minute, you can still get that thing to the rim. Give yourself an opportunity to get fouled, to get the high percentage shot, and put the onus back on Michigan.
2 big free throws by the player of the year. Here comes Syracuse in dire need of points. Trish in traffic. Got it to go.
That is really a poor decision by Michigan. The foul in that situation, the continuation was given to Brandon Trish. The last thing you want to do here is foul. And that's exactly what Trey Burke did. He thought he fouled on the floor. Well, that's a potential three-point play for what? Really poor decision.
Let's see if we can cap it off here.
This goes in. Syracuse gets an opportunity to set up their press.
But it didn't. McGarry with a rebound.
Well, that's a good foul because McGarry not a great free throw shooter.
He's hit half of them tonight, but 46% on the season. And he's going, I got this.
He's a gamer.
He is.
He is a gamer. Even though he shoots under 50%, there's probably nobody on the floor other than Mitch McGarry that wanted to get fouled as much as he wanted to.
So another chance coming up here.
Even though there's only one guy on the line, this is where free throw blockouts become big.
And Jim Boeheim's going to take one of his remaining timeouts. And we'll keep it right here with a 4-point game and 48.7 to go. So Michigan again out of timeouts and in the bonus. Syracuse with one timeout remaining. And the possession arrow with Michigan. And that was big in the first game tonight for Louisville in their come from behind win over Wichita State. What they're playing for right now is a chance to meet Louisville Monday night right here at the Georgia Dome for the college basketball championship of 2013.
And Michigan right now in the driver's seat. Make or miss by Mitch McGarry here on this second of two free throws. And Syracuse can still get the ball to the rim. They don't have to settle for a three. But if you take it to the rim, the last time they did it, they got fouled, got the chance for a three-point play. But you might draw the defense to you, and then you can kick it to an open three-point shooter stepping into a shot. Lane violation. Boy, what a mistake by Musakeda. What a mistake.
Gives McGarry another chance.
Also gives John Beilein a chance to substitute, getting Karis LeVert in there for defensive purposes.
Oh for 3. Syracuse down 4. Three-pointer goes for Sutherland, who's done very little tonight until that one just lit up the Syracuse faithful. They're down 1. Burke dribbling through traffic, almost threw it away. Got it back from Hardaway. A half minute to go. And a foul on Cooney.
And Brad, that's right there why you didn't want to foul right away, because Michigan almost turned it over. But a terrific double screen. That was a set play out of the timeout to get James Sutherland a three. And how about Jim Boeheim? You know, goes to Sutherland. He hasn't hit water falling out of a boat all night. And he goes to him. How about that?
Trey Burke hit his last 2. Here's a couple more big ones. And he missed. An 81% free throw shooter. He's 3 out of 5 tonight.
And Michigan has missed 4 of their last 8 from the line.
Got the second, but even with that, Syracuse has got the ball with 28 seconds left. A chance to tie or win.
I'd be surprised if Syracuse takes this all the way down. They're going to go right away.
And offensive foul on Trish. And he's fouled out. And Michigan gets the ball back. The orange backcourt is gone. The starters, that is.
You know what, Brad? I've been on record as saying that the charge block call is a joke in college basketball, and you've just seen another joke. That wasn't even close. It wasn't close live. It wasn't close on tape.
Here's another look.
Brandon Trish beat his man off the dribble. Jordan Morgan, a secondary defender, sliding under and moving after the offensive man left the floor. There's no question that is a block and a game-changing bad call.
You saw Carter Williams over there smack the towel on the court because his teammate and starter in the backcourt has just joined him by fouling out as well. And the inbounds pass gets to Horford, and they foul him immediately. So he'll go to the free throw line on the other end with a couple of big shots here. John Horford, a sophomore at Grand Ledge, Michigan, whose older brother plays in this city for the Atlanta Hawks. And here's some big free throws. He's hit the only one he's taken tonight.
And his older brother played pretty well in this tournament.
Yeah, back-to-back national championships for Florida. And another free throw comes out.
They are giving Syracuse opportunity after opportunity. Free throw blockouts now become big, big plays.
He got the second, and that made it a three-point game, which still in itself is pretty big. Now Syracuse knows what they have in front of them. The last time they took a three, Sutherland buried it from deep.
Jim Boeheim wants a timeout to talk it over. You don't, with 15.7 seconds, you don't have to have a three. You can get it to the rim and then foul right, go for a steal, then foul right away. But my guess is that Jim Boeheim will run something to give him an option for a three. And then if the three is well guarded, then you can dump it down for the easier two.
Well, both teams are out of timeouts. Again, the possession arrow is Michigan's. The basketball is Syracuse. Syracuse has only hit 3 threes tonight. One of them by Trevor Cooney, a little used player. One by C.J. Fair, who's been the majority of their offense tonight. And the last one that Sutherland took around that double screen that Jay was talking about.
And the biggest problem you have is with Trish and Carter Williams out of the game. That takes away your top two playmaking guards. So getting into something is going to be the real challenge now for Syracuse. Because you don't have players that are proficient at beating a defense off the dribble. So this is going to have to be a set that does it via the pass more so than the dribble.
And the inbounds play is going to come from three-quarters court with 15.7 remaining.
This very well could be an isolation for C.J. Fair. He's had some matchup advantages throughout the course of the game.
Again, the starting backcourt, Jay just said, is on the bench. Both having fouled out, and Carter Williams and Trish. And it'll be Fair that'll inbound, trying to get it to Trevor Cooney, and he'll bring it up.
When Burke has gotten steals, when you try to spin on him, he can take it away.
Cooney's going to throw one up in the air. Michigan's got the rebound. LeVert, the outlet to Jordan for the plus. And Michigan is going to head to the final against Louisville on Monday night. They win it 61-56 for the Maize and Blue. Whether by design or not, Cooney Tried to drive the lane and at least get the ball up around the basket where maybe he'd get some help from his friends.
Just a difficult shot for Cooney to try to make. Burke did a nice job of getting a hand up without fouling. Tim Hardaway got the ball. Did he walk? Who knows? But a tremendous job by Michigan against the zone in the first half, able to hang on in the second against a furious rally by Syracuse. And when Michigan couldn't hit free throws, they were still able to make the plays at the end of the ball game to win it.
So the Michigan Wolverines play the Louisville Cardinals on Monday night. Final score: the Wolverines 61, the Orange 56. John Beilein, the winning coach, and his big man in the middle, Mitch McGarry. We'll hear from both of them with their thoughts on this thriller when we return to Atlanta in a minute. Michigan elated that they're in the championship game. There's the guy that made the final shot of the night. Jordan Morgan on a breakout on a loose ball. And the young Michigan Wolverines have advanced with their 31st victory of the season. And their fans rejoicing at the Georgia Dome because now they know they've got a date with the Louisville Cardinals on Monday nights for the championship right here in Atlanta. Good balance by Michigan in the scoring column. And Trey Burke, the player of the year, wasn't even a big part of it. Jim Nantz with the winning coach and the big guy on the inside, Mitch McGarry.
Yes, I'm here with Mitch McGarry. Coach, congratulations. Wolverines on to the national championship game. But this was one that was a heart stopper right to the very end. How did your team pull it off?
Syracuse has a very good team, and you know, Jim Boeheim's a great coach, and that zone gives everybody problems. I'm glad this guy next to me, our guards, everybody made a lot of great plays. So all these